All right, this is a pretty impromptu setup. I was just watching hockey and I'm like, why am I not live on this? I'm watching the Anaheim Ducks and Philadelphia Flyers. Of course, I can't show any of this game. The Ducks coming off a pretty impressive win the other night against the Boston Bruins in overtime. You know me, I've never been a big Ducks fan. I've been watching the Ducks because, I'm kind of local to there for a long time in Newport Beach in Orange County. And now they've got some really interesting young players. I really love Mason McTavish. Ducks scored again. Speaking of this, okay, 77. Is that Vetrano? Yep, it's Vetrano. So I think that's a power play goal. It's 2-0 now for the Ducks over Philadelphia, who themselves have been pretty surprising if you've been watching this. The first goal, I think, was scored by Strome. I'm really curious about this Ducks team. They've had Zegras, they've had Troy Terry. They brought in Mason McTavish, who was a kind of like, for some people, a controversial third overall pick, but when I watched him at the World Juniors, I was like, I love this guy. Like he's everything. Like he's just a truck, and he can score, and he's a good playmaker. I was really excited about that pick. Of course, Olen Zellweger is one of the 3 defensemen they had that won major junior, defenseman of the year. He won in the WHL. Pavel Mintyuk, I can never pronounce his name right, won in the OHL, and then Tristan Leno won in the Q. So that's like, I don't know if it's a first, but for them, that's pretty incredible. I was a little disappointed that Olen got sent down to the AHL, and I hope I didn't influence that, because I said to Ryan Getzlav in the airport one time, you'd be fine sending him down, but you're going to have a hard time keeping him down. But I will say Mintyukov, that's his name, Mintyukov, and in particular, looks really good. Like he looks bigger than I realized. He's really got really good offensive instincts. And the first pick that they had, the second overall pick, Leo Carlson, for some people was really controversial. Not for me. Like if you listen to me on here talking to Coach Frenchie, I am not a big Adam Fantilli booster. He is a big guy with a lot of talent. Don't get me wrong. He's an elite level talent, maybe on par with like a Jack Eichel at the same age. He's got some characteristics I don't love about him, but I think overall, he's going to be a real good player for Columbus. A lot of people are like, he should be the second pick. And I was like, did you watch the World Juniors? Because Leo Carlson, in my opinion, is a better overall player, not a selfish player, big guy, 200-foot player. And man, he's been playing great. Like this is going to be a really interesting Calder race where you might have the top 3 draft picks, like legitimately battling it out for that top, spot of Calder Trophy winner. But I mean, Bedard is another level though. After watching Bedard with Chicago, and they also had a big win the other night. That was a big comeback for them as well, right? So you had the overtime win. Let's see, when was Chicago? Did they win that game? They beat Vegas in overtime, right? 4-3. So even that, like these young guys are having like an immediate impact. So I don't know if you're watching this game. This is the only live game at the moment. It's 2-0 Ducks over Flyers, and you say, "Ooh, the Flyers!" But the Flyers have been playing very well with a resurgent Sean Couturier. That's been really helpful. Do we think that Travis Konechny is a franchise player? I mean, he was a top OHL player, and he was a top, I think he was a first overall pick in the OHL, wasn't he? So he's always been a very, very, very good player. He's not a big guy, but he's smart and talented. But I never thought that they thought that highly of him. But, you see him featured, maybe just for lack of other star power. They traded Ivan Provorov in the offseason, which I did not think was a great move. And Provorov's doing real well in Columbus. I think he has 6 assists already. But otherwise, you've got to look at – oh, thanks for joining. Real Deal Prime, my friend. How are you, sir? Steve G, always happy to see you. I know, I need to get some hockey paraphernalia here. Vetrano on your fantasy team. I like Vetrano. Vetrano has like some size. He can score. He scored like a breakaway goal the other night, didn't he? I think in that game, in the comeback game. Nicola, how are you, my friend? Coach Frenchie is in Thailand. I'm in Nashville. Smashville, otherwise known as. Coach Frenchie, obviously not here. This is the studio that's in the works, by the way, here in Nashville. It's primarily set up initially with not Hockey 9. Thanks. You know what? I was recording stuff, and I'm like, in my business life, my non-hockey life, my book's coming out on Tuesday, Form Your Own Pack. And it's about, partnering with people and forming a team, really. And I'm like, why am I not wearing suits for everything this week? I should just be wearing suits. I thought, you know what? I'm watching hockey in a suit. Why am I not live on a suit? I think that makes a lot of sense. We got to get probably some hockey jerseys though when I go on. Or I got some Chicago jersey. I've got the Detroit Red Wings Zetterberg jersey, and I've got the Finnish national team jersey somewhere. So Yarmo would be real happy. I can do the Habs live stream. If Coach Frenchie wants me to come on, he can let me know. I will send him a message and let him know, hey, I'm not doing it, but I'm happy to join, as they know. And I'm actually around tonight, so maybe that'll work out. I've been traveling all week, so I was totally negligent in my Red Wings update. But man, some interesting games this week. First of all, if you're here to watch Red Wings, I apologize. I didn't mean to be a bait and switch. They do play later tonight. I'm watching the only game that was live, which is Anaheim versus Philadelphia. I'm really intrigued by Anaheim. I've never been a big fan, but I like Pat Verbeek, who has obviously Red Wing connections. He was assistant GM with Detroit. He was an assistant to Steve Yzerman in Tampa. And he's, he played for the Red Wings for a bit, didn't he? Pat Verbeek? I'm pretty sure Pat Verbeek played for the Red Wings for a bit, not the majority of his career. Am I wrong about that? Am I crazy? Let's look. I think he played for like 20 years. He not played for every NHL team. Yeah, he played 2 years for the Red Wings. 37 goals in 135 games for the Red Wings. Sandwiched in between the Dallas Stars, where he had a lot of success there too. Patty Verbeek. But as an NHL executive, man, he has done a really good job in Anaheim. They got a lot of young talent that I really like. I love. Have you watched Mason McTavish? Have you watched Leo Carlson? Because I love those players. I think he brought in an interesting choice in Greg Cronin for coach. So far, it's working out pretty well. Like, they have no business coming back and beating Boston in overtime. They did it. Leo Carlson is an awesome, awesome player. You're going to really like him if you haven't watched him yet. And then Pavel Mintyukov, I think that's his last name properly. Man, he looks really good. And Leno looks really good. I still, of course, am watching. They called up Robert Hagg today from the AHL. I don't understand that when you have Olin Zellweger. I think they're just going to be patient with Olin. Olin's been doing pretty well in San Diego. They have 4 points now. Olin, who is an ex-Silver Tip, we love Olin, obviously. He's got 4 points in 5 games, goal and 3 assists down in San Diego. Olin will have to come down and see you. I don't know if you care, but you probably don't. But I'll surprise you one day in San Diego when I'm down there. Chicago Bears fan, how are you doing, sir? What did you think of the Chicago Blackhawks comeback win in overtime versus the Stanley Cup champion Las Vegas Golden Knights? And did you see the goal that Bedard scored against Aiden Hill? Aiden Hill shakes his head. I think he's got 2 goals this year against Aiden Hill. Right? They played them twice. Fantastic game. You've got to be really excited if you're a Chicago fan about not only Bedard. There's not a lot on forwards. I really thought Lucas Reichel would be doing better, but it's obviously they need help on forward. Corey Perry, great pickup. Nick Foligno, great pickup for that team. It gives those guys more ice time they're going to get on a more competitive team. And you can see they're leading the way there. But on defense, this Wyatt Kaiser kid, you've got to love the Alex Vlasic kid. He's big. He's 6'6". He makes smart decisions. Really, he had a great pass to set up that Bedard goal the other night, I believe. It's like he passed to the wing and then Foligno swiped the puck across and Bedard just rifled it, right? I think that was what happened. Or am I imagining that? Chicago looks really interesting, and you've got to really like the other defenseman that's there, which is Seattle's Kevin Korchinski. Fantastic game. I totally agree. You already have 2. Well, listen, we are, this is an exciting time for both of these teams, for Anaheim and Chicago. Anaheim has some really, really, really high-end talent and young, and they're allowed to play. So even though Olin's in the AHL, I can't see him being down there forever. He's going to come up sooner than later. If you watched him in rookie camp, he can play in the NHL. I mean, he's as good a skater as they have, and I thought he did better than both Tristan and Pavel, to be honest with you, but that's maybe I'm biased. So you're going for the Flyers today. The Flyers have looked good. I mean, we've got can you guys hear me okay, by the way? This is a new studio setup they're working on here in Nashville. So I've got to get it under control a little bit, probably. But if you can't hear me, let me know. If you think it sounds really good, let me know that too, because we've got some mics going on. We got a nice DSLR camera. No longer will Coach Frenchie put me to shame with the quality of his equipment. Great. Okay, I'm excited about that. And you tell me, has Coach Frenchie ever worn a suit for you guys? I think it's kind of crazy that we haven't. I might have to wear a suit from now on. I don't know. What do you guys think about that idea? Going back to Philadelphia, the goalie in Philadelphia, as you know, is Carter Hart, another ex-Everett Silvertip. So I always watch Carter, and I always worry that he's going to be long suffering there. Torts is there, and then Torts is getting to buy into his system. They moved on from Ivan Provorov, which I think is a big gain in Columbus. But having Sean Couturier come back, big deal. Bobby Brink, the young Bobby Brink, got his first NHL goalie of the night. Did he get 2? He might have got 2. Now, Morgan Frost remains benched, which is interesting. Morgan Frost, I think, is a real good player. You were there to see? Oh, really? Okay. So you saw is that the first Bedard goal? Is that what you're saying? Or the one that he scored the other night? I think the other night, were they not in Vegas? But I can't remember. I don't know. If you're interested in young talent, which I am as a scout, what a season. Like, even watching Fantilli, like, I'm not a huge fan, but he's a very good player, and you can see he's going to get a lot of goals and points. Bedard's shot is it top 5 in the NHL right now? It's ridiculous. And he's got all these other tools. Like, anyone that was worried about his size, he's an elite player. He's at a bikini marathon. Oh, geez. I feel like he's one-upping me with that. Why was I not invited to a bikini marathon? Like, what is that? Is he wearing a bikini, or is he watching people in bikinis? Let me know. I was on vacation there, went to the game. Okay, great. Wow, 100 levels are great seats. The 312. Amazing. Well, listen, I think it's exciting right now. There's a lot of talent. And what about New Jersey with Jack and his brother, Jack Hughes and Luke Hughes in New Jersey? Alexander Holtz scored again last night. That's the former line mate of, a couple players. One is Lucas Raymond. Lucas Raymond's playing extremely well for Detroit. It's nice to see Holtz, who came in with a reputation of not being a great skater, but that does not look to be a problem, and his hands are silky smooth. So that's really interesting to watch him. Nico Hischier is much better than I've ever seen him. He looks great. As long as he stays healthy, that's a big piece. And Luke Hughes looks like a great defenseman. I know people are watching Quinn Hughes in Vancouver. I have to watch him, because the other guy in Vancouver is crazy is Peterson. Like, why don't we pay attention to Elias Peterson? This guy, I think, has 12 points already. Did he get him any more points last night? But he's up in the scoring already. Like, it's kind of crazy. It's a pretty exciting start to the season. Going back to Philadelphia, Bobby Brink is really interesting. I'm always excited when Carter Hart plays, because I really believe Carter Hart is a top 5 or 6 NHL goalie, just on a team that maybe isn't really that high caliber, bottom third right now, right? And I worry about Philadelphia's long-term talent pool, but Bobby Brink's made the team, so that's good news for Philadelphia. If Sean Couturier is actually healthy, that's good news for Philadelphia. 4-2-1, 9 points in 7 games, 643. Do I think it's going to hold up? I'm not sure. But right now they got 24 goals for and only 18 against. So they're +6. That's pretty darn good. And New Jersey, super exciting. Carolina, it's interesting. Carolina's missing one of the defensemen. Pesci is out for 4 to 6 weeks. I never thought Jesper Kotkaniemi was going to be anything, guys. I got to be honest with you. Coach Frenchie knows I've been his biggest critic. I don't like the way he skates. I don't think he has great passing ability. He's a point a game. Yeah. Well, Grega John, thank you so much for joining. I'm glad to see you. Patrick LeBlanc. Is it my saying or LeBlanc? Oh, LeBlanc. Man, I should wear my glasses. They're over there. I'm not going to get up and get them. Pretty much out of the window right from the start. Oh boy. Yeah. Well, I'm not a big better. I do love the game though, and I'm really curious about Anaheim and all these young players, obviously on Anaheim. Um, Troy Terry had a little bit of a dip last year. I liked the Ryan Strome signing last year. I think that's really paying off. Frank Vetrano has 6 goals, guys. Frank Vetrano. What is with the NHL.com? What is with the terrible, terrible streaming experience? Like ESPN is so bad. I couldn't even watch the game last night because in order to watch the game, you had to have NHL Network, which is not even on Hulu. I would have to have Sling TV. Like, why do I need 5 different subscriptions to watch all the NHL games? Like, I used to be able to get these on NHL.tv. It's so bad. So 5 goals, 6 goals now, and 1 assist, 7 points for Frank Vetrano. He's a gritty guy. I really like Frank Vetrano. He's been around a while too. 22 goals last year for the Ducks. I mean, he's not a bum. Yeah, this is a good player. And he had a 24, I forgot he had a 24-goal season with the Panthers before. Yeah, that's a good player. You like the suit. Thank you. You know what? I think I can up the game a little bit here. I don't know why I'm not wearing a suit. Just because I'm at home just doesn't mean I can't dress in a suit, right? So what if it's 1 o'clock on a Saturday? I think it's a valid look. Why aren't we dressing in suits more, guys? I encourage all of you, dress in suits. And I'll tell you, I was in San Francisco the other day, and it was a 25th anniversary party for this company called Jump, and my wife's friends with the founder, and we went there, and I didn't realize it was supposed to be a formal attire, but it's formal for San Francisco. Yeah, it may make it horrible, Greg. It's absolutely brutal. Thank you. I feel professional in it. I'll tell you, wearing a suit, you feel professional. If it kind of, makes you look like you know what the hell you're talking about. Even if you don't, you might be absolutely ridiculous. But if you're wearing a nice suit. So we went to this event in San Francisco, and I asked before we left, hey, do I need to bring a suit? And the answer was no, but it turned out yes. So I just ran up to Zara. If you're looking for a reasonable suit, Zara's pretty darn good. H&M's actually okay. It's not as tailored as Zara. Zara's got the Ducks don't suck. Honestly, Eternal Render, the Ducks don't suck. I've never, ever been a fan of the Ducks. I really like players that are on this roster. Like if John Gibson can ever become a legit, consistent #1 goalie, he's running out of excuses because they've got Cam Fowler, they got Pavel Mintyuk, Radko Gudas scored the other night. Another ex-Everett Silvertip, by the way. You got Tristan Luneau, you got Olin Zellweger in the AHL. Like the Ducks are looking pretty good prospect-wise. Trevor Zegras is eventually going to be an 80, 90-point player, maybe 100. He's just that good. He's really, really talented. Troy Terry has shown he can score 30. He's a real good player. I like the Ryan Strome pickup. I love the Leo Carlsson pick. Like as soon as they made that, I was like, yes, you have guts, because I was watching these players, the World Juniors, and I know our coached Team Canada from Everett, and I know the feedback on the guy that went #3. And I'm like, okay, it wasn't my imagination because I did not like the way he played. He tried to do everything himself. And I've followed him since he's like 13, and he made some odd choices coming along, but he's such a world-class size and talent. I get it. But for me, I love watching Leo Carlsson. I just think he's a big, mature 200-foot player, is a very good playmaker, and he's shown he can score goals. Huh, interesting. I'm surprised the Hawks have 2 average goalies. Well, average or below average. Like, is Elmer Soderblom's brother, what's his name? Is it Arvid? What's his brother's name? Who's the Soderblom that's in Chicago that's the goalie? He's like, an unknown. And then Mrazek is not. He did terrible in Toronto, but I think that's just a terrible. You're seeing what's happening in Toronto. They have no defense. The defense is terrible there. If you're goalie there, I don't feel great about it. Although Joseph Wall looks very, very good, by the way. Or it is Arvid. Okay, cool. Yeah, I was like, is it Arvid Soderblom? But they don't. I don't know if you can say they're average. Like I think you got a guy that's probably on the tail end of his career in Mrazek, never achieved what I thought he would achieve in Detroit. Drummed himself out of Detroit. Whether that made any sense, I didn't think it did. I thought he was better than Jimmy Howard. But he's an erratic guy. He's like a reflex guy, and there's a lot of wild rebounds. So I don't know. That's not great. But what you got to love about Chicago are those young D. You got to love the young D there, like Kaiser and Korchinski, and then you got Seth Jones, and then they got one other D there that's real good. Who's the other guy that I'm missing in Chicago? And I was like, wow. Now they're only 3-5, so I get that. Let's see, because I can't remember. I'm blanking on the other guy's name that I was like pretty happy with. Yeah, 5 points in 8 games for Connor Bedard and 3 goals. And the leading scorer is Corey Perry. This guy refuses to go away. Corey Perry. Ryan Donato's looking okay, but long term, that's not a big solution. Tyler Johnson's got 3 goals in the year, so that's good. I like Taylor Radish. I think he's an effective second, third line guy. But the 3 guys Vlasic, right? Vlasic, Korchinski, and then our Wyatt Kaiser. Man, those are really good young defensemen. And then you throw into it, you've got Seth Jones and you got Connor Murphy. I mean, that is not a bad top 5. Nikita Zaitsov is kind of subbing in as the 6-7 guy. And Jared Tenorti, I guess, has carved out some sort of. How was Jared Tenorti 31? Holy smokes, that went fast. The guy that I'm a little disappointed with is probably Lucas Reichel, and I hope maybe they have to send him down. Taylor Hall does not surprise me at all. He's been injured his whole career. I didn't love the pickup. He's a good guy, but he's always going to break your heart. Like you always expect so much more because he looks like he should be a top player, and he was a first overall pick, and that's just not the guy. I don't know. He misses more with Bedard than he scores. Like Bedard sets him up for some crazy opportunities, and he has no goals this year. He should have 3 goals at least. I saw one game he should have 5 goals. Soderblom did well against Vegas. They lost 5-3, but he looked good. But then last night, Anaheim comes back and beats Vegas. And man, was Alex Pietrangelo mad in overtime. He smashed his stick on the ice. He's a competitive guy. I always loved Alex Pietrangelo. When they drafted him, I think Atlanta drafted Eric, what's his name? Zach Bogosian ahead of Alex Pietrangelo. There's a reason that franchise folded. All right. Have you guys seen Logan Cooley? Who here has watched Logan Cooley? Because Logan Cooley is going to go down as the number 1, the top pick out of that draft. It won't be Slafkovsky. I have bad news for you, Montreal fans. I did not like that pick as first overall. Did not like it. I really thought Simon Nemec should be first overall, but yeah, here he is in New Jersey. He's in the AHL. I still think he's going to be an excellent NHL defenseman. He has awesome offensive instincts. Maybe not a perfect skater, but he's a good skater. Cooley is going to be the best player out of that draft. It will not be Shane Wright. He is so creative and talented. You always wonder if that guy's game will translate, but we're in a new era of the NHL, right? We don't have clutch and grab. The physicality is always met with a fight. It's just a weird ticky-tacky league, but guys that have skill have room to do stuff. And maybe that's for the better, right? Maybe, that's more important. And that's why so much young talent is able to step in. Logan Cooley is so good. And I think Logan Cooley with Clayton Keller has elevated Clayton Keller. Keller's like, oh my God, I have another guy I can play with here. That's another guy that's got my maybe better hockey IQ, but at least on par with Clayton Keller. So I don't know, I think, uh, yes, and you can't, it's tough because you can be impatient with these guys, but I've watched, maybe you have too. I've watched Slavkovsky and Nemec, since they're like 15, 16, and I never thought that Slavkovsky had, how do you put it? It's what one of our former scouts now in Calgary, player personnel, former director of player personnel, Alvin Backus would say, snap on the puck. And Alvin scouted for Montreal for 7 years, before the Slavkovsky era, in the Trevor Timmins era, the Mark Bergevin era. And he would say, like, the guy doesn't have snap. Does he have, separation, speed? I don't think Slavkovsky has those things. He is a freight train, for sure. He's a big man. Sometimes in this NHL, that can work against you. Watch Elmer Soderblom, 6'9". If you watch him in puck battles, has problems. The distance between him and his stick blade is a problem. It's a weird thing. Run with Kings. Thank you for joining. Real Deal Prime, thank you for welcoming him. We are excited to have you. How do you like the Kings so far? They're looking a little shaky in net. Is that my imagination? What do you think of the LA Kings in net? And we seem to be seeing, like, I was kind of, Fiala's awesome. The Philip Deneau signing was a veteran guy, but he is awesome. That was a great fit there. Quinton Byfield is, being brought along in probably a very smart way, including being put on the wing, playing left wing with Kopitar. Will he ever play center? I don't think it matters, but there's another guy that's a big, big guy. He's like 6'5", and I think in close puck battles, Quinton struggles, but Quinton can really shoot the puck. And he does have good speed, but he really struggles with balance on his skates and in close puck battles. Sometimes you can be too big. If Slavkovsky can follow the path of Byfield and they're patient with him and he develops, he doesn't really have a Kopitar to play with. I'm sorry. In the end, Logan Cooley and Simon Nemec will both be better than Slavkovsky. Based on the NHL Edge new advanced match, Slav is the fastest player. So I don't care. I mean, I'm not saying he's slow. He does not have snap on the puck. It's hard to win puck battles for a lot of these big guys. He's a monster. I mean, he's 230 pounds, monster, and you got to love his attitude. The thing for him is he's always tried to be more of a playmaker, and he had success with the World Juniors that got everybody all excited. That's like the third tier of goalies and talent in the world at the World Juniors. But what he shows is he can score and he can shoot the puck hard. So similar to Quinton Byfield, hate to say it, he might be a winger. He might be a winger that if he's a trigger man for a guy like Suzuki, maybe that works. Maybe that's what he needs to focus on. And when he shoots the puck, he can shoot the puck hard. I don't think he needs a big windup, which you can't have a big windup. Yeah, Vetrano. I like Vetrano. The other guy I like that, Pittsburgh is really interesting to me. They acquire Smith, sorry, not Riley Sutter, another Everett Silvertip. Sorry, Riley. I wish you were in the NHL with Pittsburgh. Riley Smith, very, very good pickup for Pittsburgh. Noel Asiari. I mean, I really like this guy. You love him, Laferriere. Okay, in LA. Not to be confused with Lafreniere, who is also a first overall pick, not the best player in his draft. That would be Tim Stützle. I still think Lafreniere is a very, very good player. He can score. He's been buried on the third line for the Rangers. If you like young players, that's another young guy that I think is going to have a real good year. He's already, in my opinion, he's very capable of getting 25 to 30 goals, no problem. And I think he can get 30 to 40 assists. Like he's just on a deep team. That's not true. Go back. Listen. Yeah, right. He had success in the World Championship versus NHLers, third-tier NHLers. He was not playing everybody's best goalie. You go back and look at who he scored against and the level of talent in the World Championship's not good. Olympics not good. I didn't think he was very great in the Olympics. It was the World Championship that got everybody's attention. And the World Juniors, he was not good. I mean, look at the guys who are good in the World Juniors and the guys that struggle. Shane Wright struggled. Where's Shane Wright? He's in the AHL. Logan Cooley didn't struggle. Jack Hughes didn't struggle. Those are players that excelled in World Juniors. Generally, that is a very, very good barometer for these young players coming up. Connor Bedard absolutely kicked butt in the World Juniors. He's a year younger than Adam Fantilli. Fantilli went from first to fourth line. Now, Fantilli is going to be a player. Don't get me wrong. But in the end, I just think it's a big burden being a first overall draft pick in Montreal. I probably would have picked Nemec. That was my pick in that draft. But watching Cooley, he's the best player. I would not have picked Shane Wright, and I'm glad they had the guts not to pick Shane Wright, because Shane Wright was not the best player in that draft. But Shane Wright, he'll be a decent NHLer. The World Juniors, maybe. Maybe. And the thing about Slafkovsky is he's been in the World Juniors from a very young age. Like, he and Nemec were playing at 16 for Slovakia. So those two guys were the best players at that age group for a long, long time. So that is just a reality. They're struggling a little bit in the NHL. I don't think he's struggling. I think he's struggling because he has no one to play with. Like, he had 9 shots his first 4 games. You can't not create all of your own offense. Like, it doesn't work. He has nobody to play with. Taylor Hall's out injured. That was the guy closest to him in talent. They're trying to sub in and revive Nick Foligno. Corey Perry is playing a role there and is the leading scorer, but he's a guy in front of the net, right? He's going to do gritty stuff and score in front of the net. Who is a talented player for Connor Bedard to play with? There's no one to set him up, and there's no one to finish what he sets up. There's just nobody. The defensemen look real good. He is an elite superstar talent. Unless they pick up another talented forward, even one, to play with them, it's not going to be Athanasiou. I honestly didn't think it was going to be Taylor Hall, because Taylor Hall, as athletic as he is, he misses a lot of opportunities. And Taylor Hall tends to be a bull, but his hockey sense is not amazing. It's okay. Man, and what's crazy with Nemec is he's in the AHL. Like, that's how deep New Jersey is, and that's how good Luke Hughes is. Like, Luke Hughes is, we always were watching Luke Hughes, and he was the younger, bigger brother of the other two Hugheses. So you'd see him, he's like the 12-year-old, 13-year-old, and they're like 15 and 16. You're like, I don't think he'll be as good, because the other two were just so dynamic. Like, he's bigger, though. That's what everybody would say, but I'm sorry, he's a world-class, he's an elite skater. He has really good hockey. He's a much better skater than Simon Nemec. And he has an elite level hockey sense, and he is bigger. Like, he's a 6'1", 6'2" Hughes brother. Simon Nemec could be a number 1 defenseman on many NHL teams. I liken Simon Nemec to Brian Bo Byram. In Colorado, yeah, you've got Cale Makar, but you also got Bo Byram, and both struggled with, concussion issues. Bo Byram, if you look at Bo Byram at the same age as Cale Makar, like, even in the NHL, he's on par or ahead of him. Now, will he reach that next level? I don't know. But even if he isn't, if he's on another team, he's a number 1 defenseman. And that's what I look at Simon Nemec. He might be that same guy. Like, they've got a lot of good defensemen in New Jersey. Although they lost Ryan Graves, they lost who was the other big defenseman? Damon Severson's in Columbus, right? How many points do you think Jack Hughes ends the season with? I mean, he's going to get 100. I mean, he's like next level. Like, he is so good. And you always knew he was super high-end talented, and he kind of didn't put up massive numbers until last year. Then last year was like, wait a second, this guy's like, he can score 50 goals, he might get 60 assists. Somehow I feel that's very, very doable for him, and you just don't know. After After Connor McDavid got 150 points last year, and he's been injured the last week and a bit, right? And man, Edmonton is struggling. What is going on in Edmonton? Are they going to fire the coach? I mean, the goaltending situation is terrible. And, people say the nurse contract is too much money. I agree with that. He's not a $9 million defenseman, but I've always liked Darnell Nurse. I've never been a Cody Ceci fan. I like Evan Bouchard. You got to like Ekholm. Something's not clicking there. Yeah, Lucas Reichel is struggling. And I don't know if he has much to prove in the AHL, but it might be beneficial to send him to the AHL if I can't remember if he clears waivers or not. Fantilli, Carlson, and Bedard wasn't that big. I disagree. If you know all three players, Bedard is light years ahead of the other two as far as hockey sense, IQ, and shot. Fantilli is a very good shot, but Fantilli tries to do everything himself, and he's an interesting personality. He wasn't that popular on Team Canada. I'm just going to say that. And he had a terrible World Junior, and coach kept saying, oh, he's never played wing. Well, guess what? He can't play center in the NHL or World Juniors. If you're that good, and he's a year older than Connor Bedard, guys. Connor Bedard is a 2005 birth year. Both Carlson and Fantilli are 2004. Because they're born after September 15th, they get a whole other year of maturity and development. Connor Bedard is above both those guys. That being said, just watch the World Juniors, and you know who didn't struggle? Leo Carlson. You could tell Leo Carlson played pro. Fantilli has always avoided the top leagues. He played in the USHL. Yeah, oh, big deal. He lit up the USHL. That is an old, dusty league. The players in that league are old compared to major junior hockey. Fantilli's from Toronto. He ain't American. Why is Adam Fantilli going to the United States Prospect Hockey League? Like, he's going to prep school in the United States, which is like below tier 1. It's like terrible. Oh, he lit it up. Yes, but it's not a challenge for him. Michigan, yes, he ripped it up. He's playing against old guys, right? An elite level talent at that age. He's already 18. He's playing against guys that are 21. He's an elite level talent. He would, if his birthday had been before September 15th, he arguably would have been a top 3 draft pick anyway in the prior year with the 04s. He's better than Slavkovsky. He's probably better than Nemec. Cooley, you probably draft Fantilli ahead of Cooley. And he's definitely better than Shane Wright. But why has he always avoided these top, the top level of competition? It's just a weird thing to me. So I never understood that. There's something about him versus Leo Carlson. I think Leo Carlson's a more mature player, more mature person. And he's a better player. Those two to me are close, like ability wise. And that's really the separation. Bedard is way better than both. And both of them are on, frankly, have more players to play with. Like, is there a Patrick Laine or a Johnny Gaudreau in Chicago? I mean, we're seeing how good Mason McTavish is. We know how good Troy Terry is. We know how good Trevor Zegras is. You got Ryan Strome in Anaheim. There's players in Anaheim. I'm just telling you, as someone that has watched all these guys from a young age, I know what the deal was at the World Juniors. Our coach coached both these guys. I know the person that trained Bedard is the same person that trained Connor McDavid. Okay. And Adam Fantilli's in that mix. Like, I know I've watched Adam from the time he was in the GTHL. I watched him when he went to LA. He was in the Pat Brisson stable of players. I know the feedback from coaches. I know how he performed at World Juniors. He's not the same. Is he an elite level talent? He is Jack Eichel. He's got all the same tools. He's a big guy. He can shoot the puck. Eichel at the same age, I think, is very, very comparable. And he's probably in a little bit better situation than Eichel was in Buffalo. But there's a lot of depth in Edmonton. And so you think the issue is that all that talent doesn't matter and he doesn't utilize them. And that's interesting. Like he's got big points. Like he got the best season ever out of Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. If you've got Draisaitl and McDavid, you play them 22 minutes a night. You're crazy not to. They're in the prime of their career. They don't get tired. They're the best players in the world. And then you make everybody else build around them. I don't disagree with that. I think the problem in Edmonton, the goaltending is you've still got a young Stuart Skinner. This is his sophomore year. He had a long playoff run, like 2 rounds for him. That's pretty long. Jack Campbell should never have been signed to that contract. There's a reason Toronto let him walk. Joseph Woll is better than Jack Campbell. And the guy they had before was Mike Smith. They still have a goaltending problem there. Personnel-wise, I like the top 4 in Edmonton. I actually like the top 5. I like Kulak too. So there's pieces there, but they're playing this crazy. Oh, Nicola, do you want me to describe the game that's going on with Anaheim? I don't commentate the way he does, so let's talk about it for a sec. Big save right there by what's his name, the Swedish goalie, C. Ersson for Philadelphia on Vetrano. Stop that. So that was pretty good. So no Carter Hart today. McTavish playing with Vetrano. Who else is on there? Yeah, in the power play right now, it looks like it. It's always a little frustrating for me that I can't have this even in the bottom corner because you'll get like a copyright strike against you. So they're reviewing a play right now to see if it went in. So the Philadelphia goalie Ersson looks like he teed up, and Vetrano thinks he scored and shoved the puck in. He's saying it's in, but Ersson's saying no. So the big thing about Philadelphia is Cam Atkinson and Sean Couturier. Big difference makers there. I like to see that Bobby Brink made the team. So I don't know. They're reviewing this. Is this going to be 3-0? I don't think so. It's interesting that they're reviewing this. Bobby Brink was boxed out by Vetrano there. That's the difference between a veteran and a rookie. You're not going to – why are you letting – I mean, he's not a defenseman. He shoved him back. Bobby Brink's a real good player there. By the way, I do like when they drafted him. I was real excited about that. I thought that was smart. Oh, maybe it is in. Wow, this might be 3-0, guys. For sure. I mean, that's a real good lineup, though. I like, the Hyman. I like obviously Nugent Hopkins. I've never been a huge fan, but huge, when you get a 100-point year, it's really hard to argue with that. The Evander Kane situation this year feels like it's taken a step backwards. Something strange is going on with Evander Kane. He got into a fight the one game and said it was because he was benched. It's like, oh, I'm not doing anything. I might as well fight. Yeah, it's okay. So what are they saying? Good goal. Vetrano scores. So that's 2 goals for Vetrano today. It's 3-0. Torts is going mad behind the bench, guys. John Tortorella, not thrilled with that. It's like, how did that happen? Because Bobby Brink let Vetrano get inside of him. But is that really Bobby Brink's problem? Like, Bobby Brink's a winger. Like, Bobby Brink's not playing center as far as I know for Philadelphia. You had Sean Couturier and Cam Atkinson with Bobby Brink. So that's a Couturier guy you pick up, or the defenseman. So Vetrano getting on the inside of the defenseman is really the bigger problem. Let's see, Philadelphia getting an opportunity there. I don't even know who the numbers are. The biggest problem with me in Philadelphia is they have black uniforms and orange lettering. Can you make that out? I cannot read the names. I don't know who 86 is, so it's kind of interesting. I really should bone up on the Flyers lineup a little bit. Ooh! Wow. That was almost a goal. Is that McTavish? Yeah, 23. McTavish almost scored from the high slot. That was almost 4-0. They've only got 10 shots on goal and 3 goals, Anaheim. That's interesting. Oh, 86 is Farabee. Great commentary. I have no idea. Vetrano, Steve G. I don't know. This is one of those guys that you just want on your team, right? Like, you just want him to be there. Philadelphia breaking out a little bit. Oh, regroup for Anaheim. They regain the puck. Cam Fowler. A little bit of transition here going both ways. Man, I really need to bone up on let me just take a quick look at the Philadelphia lineup. I'm looking at numbers and I'm like, who the heck are these guys? I mean, I know the players, but I don't know their numbers. That's how little I watched Philadelphia last year. It was so painful. If you watched Philadelphia last year, you know what I'm talking about. That was really terrible. They're a very different team with our good friend Sean Couturier, who I like. So yeah, Vetrano now has 7 goals in the season. He got assists from Lacombe. Lacombe was another defenseman in Anaheim, guys. That is really, really good. Like, what the heck? Yeah, I can't believe they called up Robert Hagg. But the guy has not turned out, and that's probably the prior regime is Jacob Perreault. That's not he only got 2 goals in 5 games. That's really interesting. NHL veteran Robert Hagg called up, so I don't know what the D situation is here, but yeah, you got Cam Fowler, Jamie Drysdale hurt again, which sucks. This is terrible. So you think about you got Drysdale on top of Mintyukov, you got Radko Gudas, Tristan Leno, Labushkin. Interesting. Wow, Torts is going mad. I guess we shouldn't be surprised, right? Okay, I gotta look at this Philadelphia lineup. I keep procrastinating here. Let's take a look. So 10 is Bobby Brink, 11 is Konechny. Okay, so that makes sense. 14 Couturier. Oh, Garnet Hathaway. I think that's a good pickup. He's a big guy. He can play third, fourth line. Scotty Lawton is number 21. Oh, former Montreal Canadian prospect Ryan Poehling, who I never thought was that good, 25. Noah Cates is 27. So he's got some junkyard dogs back there. 44 is Dory. Oh, okay. So 71 is Forrester and 74 is Owen Tippett. And I thought Owen Tippett had a real good year last year. And Forrester is very similar. He's a big guy that can really shoot the puck. Maybe not the best skater. So former Florida Panther Tippett. And then you got Joel Farabee is 86. So I was like, who's 86? That's Farabee. And then Atkinson's 89. Okay, so we got that straight. On D, it's a little bit weird back there for me. You got Zamula's number 5, 6 is Sanheim, Cam York is 8. I like Cam York. I think that's going to be a real good NHL defenseman for them, but there's not much going on back there in that D, guys. You got Sealer, number 24. Which Walker is this? I'm so confused who S. Walker is. Sean Walker, the LA King guy. Whenever I see S. Walker, I think it's Scotty Walker. Yeah, there's not a lot going on there. And then you got Harrison is in net. Is it Simon Harrison or Samuel? Samuel. All right, so I'm a little bit boned up here then. I'm a little bit more up to speed. There's not a lot to love on that Philadelphia lineup. I'm actually kind of shocked at their record, given how bad that lineup is. 9:59 left in the second. 15 shots. It's 4-0, guys. That's why our friend Torts was going nuts. 4-0. Eesh. Adam Henrique scores his first of the year from Jones and Silverberg. Silverberg, by the way, I have no time for. Yeah, I mean, but he has reason. It's 4-0, and they have like 11 shots on net. He's not doing too well in the net there. Ayrton is not Carter Hart. You know what? The reality is Philadelphia is in a lot of games because of Carter. That defense is terrible. When I read through that, were you like, what is going on? Like, to lose a guy like Provorov, who arguably on most teams would be a number 2, and on some teams a number 1 defenseman. I don't get that. Yeah, Zamula's on D. Number 4. Gibson with a save. It's still 4-0. 8:53. Oh, we got an all-state commercial, guys, so we don't have to worry about it. Yeah, I don't know. Anaheim is really intriguing to me. I don't think that the success that Philadelphia's had short term, I think they're going to be a lot like Columbus, where they just for years under Torts were just on the cusp and they're hard to play against. Couturier is really, that's always going to be a concerning situation given how much time he's missed with it was the back injury, right? 2021 was the last time he played an NHL game. Farabee, Morgan Frost, you need a lot out of these guys. You need them to have another level. Konechny's been a real good pro overall. Cam Atkinson's an NHL veteran. You got to like that, but I don't think it is. I think people misunderstand John Tortorella. The players really like John Tortorella. John Tortorella, yes, he's bombastic, but you know where you stand with John Tortorella, and he just wants you to work constantly. And if you look at that Philadelphia lineup, there's not a lot of talent on it when I start reading through it. You've got guys that in 2 years, depending, they've drafted Michkov. Michkov is arguably better than anybody on that lineup right now in forward lines. There's no reason to believe that Matvei Michkov won't come to the NHL and be better than Travis Konechny. Michkov is a Kaprizov level talent, right? He's Bedard level. Both Michkov and Bedard for me are better than Carlson and Fantilli. Smaller guy again, but elite goal scorer, really good, playmaker. I just think Tortorella doesn't like the media because they're not honest, right? If you listen to how the media questions anybody, most people deal with it with diplomacy, just oh, I'll give you an answer, even though that's a ridiculously leading or, loaded question. Torts is just not having it. That's, and yeah, he's, I don't know, he's a little bit old school, but not, I just think he's not going anywhere. I was really shocked and disappointed in how Mike Babcock went out. He just is a creepy guy, and people have always had a bad reputation amongst coaches as being arrogant, but I didn't understand some of this weird stuff because coaches can be a little weird and manipulative sometimes anyway. That's, go back and look at Scotty Bowman. You're not going to say Scotty Bowman it's not that Scotty Bowman was a yeller and screamer. He was a button pusher, right? And you just knew Scotty was a brilliant hockey mind, and Scotty would push guys' buttons to get the best out of them. So he was a chess player, and that's the way Babcock is. But, the phone things, that's a terrible way to go out. Torts, I don't know. I don't see Torts. I think Torts is straight up in your face. He demands intensity and wants hard work, and that's what he's going to get. And he wants that culture. Babcock is French-Canadian? There are no privacy laws in Canada. They take our devices at the border. What's that? Babcock's French-Canadian? What am I missing? Is he? He's McGill, right? He's not, but he's from Saskatoon, isn't he? I thought he was from Saskatoon. I can't remember. Elias going Portillo. Eric Portillo looked real good. Swedish goalie, played NCAA, big guy. I think that's got potential. Not a guarantee for sure. And the way that they've gone hardcore veteran on that team, I just don't see, I don't know. I don't see the current goalie setup working. Hoping, got it. Yeah, that makes more sense. He studied McGill, right? That's what I thought. But I don't think he's French-Canadian. I thought he was from Saskatchewan or Saskatoon or whatever. Same thing. Oh, I know. It's insane. Canada is not a great place, guys. I left Canada for a reason. I saw this a long time ago. And you see when, it's a colony, right? The laws are for a colony to control the colonists. And it might not be the British Empire in charge of it, but the law stands, right? So whatever terrible person is running things, there's a terrible person running things in a minority government. There's no crime that's too petty to prosecute or too big to ignore in Canada. That's hard. Let's not do that. I can give you a ticket for the stupidest thing ever. Let's fine you. Let's tax you to death. That's Canada. Let me take your phone. Screw you. Maybe. I don't know. I think it's a creepy thing to do. In the end, it's a dumb thing to do. The guy's career is ruined, right? Like that's not happening. Oh wow, Philadelphia's stormed back here. What am I doing? I'm falling asleep at the wheel here. You got Cam Atkinson and Travis Konechny, the guys we were just talking about, scoring. So Atkinson scores on a backhand from Tippett and York, and then Travis Konechny gets his 7th of the year from who? Sean Walker. So all the guys I'm saying was talking about getting on the board there. What the heck? It's 4-2. Where are you going? No, I'm French Canadian. I'm just saying Babcock's not French Canadian. He's from Saskatchewan, I think. I'm just saying in Canada, it's not like as free as people say. That's all. It's not, there's a lot of ticky tacky stuff that the authorities like to do, like tax us. I'm Canadian. They like to tax us. They like to fine us for crazy stuff. Absolutely. But Patrick, I hope you didn't misunderstand. What's disgusting? Okay. Well, I left Canada for a reason because I think people taking your phones to the border are not a good thing. I don't think that's a positive thing for anybody. So, bye, Patrick. I'm sorry. That's kind of mean. I'm just saying it's not Canadians. I love Canadians. I am Canadian. But taking phones is a weird thing to do, including by the authorities, right? So it's just one of those places where it's not in the people's favor. Oh, I didn't mean to insult you, Patrick. I wasn't talking about French Canadians. I'm just saying in Canada, when the discussion was Babcock and taking away phones, they say, well, they take our phones at the border. I don't think that's right. Do you? Yeah, I wasn't talking bad about anybody people wise. I'm just saying the laws in Canada are not really favorable, right? There's a lot of things that are not great that way. So sorry if I offended you or there was some confusion there because my grandfather is French Canadian. I grew up in Canada. I'm from Canada. Patrick, relax. Yeah. That's good feedback. You're right. Well, it's 4-2 in the game, so there's a power play right now for Philadelphia, so it's interesting. Patrick, you're really angry. What are you angry about? I think there was a misunderstanding. Maybe I went off on. I get annoyed at Canadian government. That's all. I don't think they're good to Canadian people who are good. And that's what bothers me. Oh, Anaheim trying to get back in. I mean, they're winning, but Philadelphia has really taken over the game here. Didn't score on that power play though. I mean, they're out shooting Anaheim 20-13, so there's that. It's Yeah, it's okay, Maurice. I don't know, Patrick. I've been around since the beginning of this channel. Coach Frenchie and I started it together, so I don't know what you're talking about. I think I'm not negative Canada. I work in the Canadian Hockey League. I'm saying society-wise, taking people's phones is weird, as it is weird for Babcock. Oh, let's see. I mean, Torts getting upset seemed to work. It's 4-2 here, so they clawed back a little bit. Ooh, that might be a penalty. That's Silverberg tripped. Did they even call that? Wow, I think that should have been a trip. Philly's breaking out here. Yeah, I am really not up on the Flyers numbers here. There's Couturier. Petrano, Petrano's got the puck in the. Oh, is it offside? Yeah, it's offside. Looked like he broke in there. What other games we have tonight? So let's see. Tonight, I know we've got the Red Wings playing. What do you think of the Red Wings? Like, I know that people were excited about the start, but you can't let in 4 and 5 goals a game and expect that to work. Like the Red Wings have been really, really off. And I just don't think Husso has not been amazing this year. He's had 2 games where he let in 4 goals in each of them, and then a 5th goal in that Seattle game. Is that Reimer? That might have been Reimer. And Reimer is not a number one goalie, so I worry a little bit about that. Like Husso really has to be on for them. Um, the older D they brought in, not perfect, right? You guys know that with Sherratt and Petrie. Those guys are not perfect. So it's interesting with Detroit. I really think they still have a lot in the AHL that are really going to help them. And I think Bergeron needs to be up on a top 6 role personally. Like he's real good. Oh man. All right. Do we get another one? Shoot. I think the broadcast I'm watching is a little behind you. Struggle with this ESPN experience here. Like they buried I had to go 4 screens over to reload the Flyers Anaheim game. They're trying to constantly get me to watch other sports that I don't want to watch. So it's 4-2. Did they score? I haven't seen that yet. Yeah, it still looks like it's 4-2 to me. So I don't know where the goal came from. Oh, they can't buy a goal these days. I'm sorry, I misunderstood. Yeah, the Bruins can't buy a goal these days. The Bruins are going to struggle because of the center ice position. I mean, you can't have Charlie Coyle playing in a top 2 line, in my opinion. You have got Pavel Zacha, who's not a top centerman. Like he had a lot of success on the wing. He can play center in a second line role, maybe. You still got Pasta, who's so good. Marchand's really, really good. And you've got to like the way Jake DeBrusk's career's kind of come full circle. So those are good things. The Bruins are still a good team. Charlie McAvoy is awesome. But I just think that it's tough. I mean, Detroit had such a good start, but I think they're settling back down to earth. Like they won games against the other team's backup goalie, and Husso has not been that good. I really think Simon Edmondson right now might be the 3rd best defenseman on Detroit, and he's in the AHL. So Simon Edmondson to me could be in the NHL. Jonathan Bergman can play a higher line. So I think the early start by Detroit looked good on paper. Philadelphia's early start, probably pretty surprising. And that's just team-wise, obviously. If I look at the stats, the guy that like is kicking that is so good is Peterson. And actually, Alex DeBrincat, total shock to me. I did not think that was going to translate. Like I thought, no Patrick Kane. I don't consider Dylan Larkin a great playmaker. If you watch Dylan Larkin, he's fast. He's a great 200-foot player. Sometimes he's handing hand grenades to his line mates. I really think Lucas Raymond softens that lineup where on that, whoever else is on that line, it's because a lot of pucks that get on Lucas Raymond's sticks settle down. He draws attention to himself and he gets open man. So I think that's a good fit. DeBrincat is way better than I thought. Maybe. I mean, if the hockey gods have anything to say about it, he should never break a Gretzky record. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know. Washington hasn't looked great. Lindgren and Comfer in net, and Comfer's, I don't know if he's struggling with injuries or not. They're okay, right? They're just a weird team. I'm not convinced that I don't know. I'm not convinced of that team. I think that they're going to miss the playoffs. I think that's logical. I think Pittsburgh looks good. Malkin and Crosby do not look like they've lost anything. I think the additions they made are really, really helpful. I like what Kyle Dubas has done. He brought in Riley Smith, so they've been good. Tristan Jarry's already got 2 shutouts. And I think if Jarry's healthy, that team does real well. He made a switch there in net, right? So he brought in Nedeljkovic over Casey DeSmith. I'm not sure. Is that an improvement? Maybe, And the defense, like the Ryan Graves addition is helpful. Lars Eller really solidifies the third line. And then the Erik Karlsson, I'm always 50-50 on Karlsson, but he definitely makes that team better. He makes the power play a lot better. Jake Gensel is probably one of the most underrated players in the NHL. So that's kind of interesting. Look at Colorado. Like Colorado has actually had a pretty good start, and that's without Landeskog, right? Like Landeskog seems to be no more. So that's bringing in Ryan Johansson, moving on from who's the guy that you got in Newhook, right? So Newhook not being the second line center there anymore. Comfer going to Detroit. I don't mind Comfer, but I just don't think he's more than a 45, 50-point player, which might be fine. Nichushkin's okay. Lekkonen's way better than I ever thought he was. But Mikko Ranson has got 12 points in 7 games. McKinnon's a point a game right now. The guy that's really leading the way is Mikko Ranson. That might be the most underrated player in the NHL. He's quietly in the top 5 or 6 in NHL scoring. I like the Ross Colton acquisition. Bo Byram. I really love Bo Byram. I think he has potential to be a number 1 somewhere if he can stay healthy, but that's a big, big question. They're not getting a lot of points from the D right now, though. I mean, Makar obviously has 9 points, so that's part of it. That's probably where it's coming from. And Devin Taves signed a big contract, which is interesting to me. Is he their number 2 D man right now? I always thought of him more as a number 4 personally. Never a big Jack Johnson fan, but they are 6-1-0. Georgiev, 918 save percentage, 231. They got that other goalie, Prosatev. Is he from Carolina? Is that the guy? No, Arizona. So that was an interesting pickup. He's only played like 14 NHL games, so I'm not sure how that helps them, especially if they're missing 1 goalie already, right? They're missing Francouz. Is Francouz out long term? I thought he was. McDavid will hit Gretzky numbers. Not for career. I think it's going to be tough. Oh, no. I don't know what's going on there. A little feedback. I don't know. Is this ghosting for you? It looks like it's frozen the camera. So I'm kind of curious about that. I'm going to switch it up here for 1 sec. 1 sec, guys. And I'm just going to pull the... That's probably smart. I'm going to switch cameras here. A regular camera. Can you guys still hear me? Let me know if you can. Yeah, it froze. Is the mic still working? I got to figure out this setup so I can run it easier. Drouin's like going to be Drouin. Tatar's Tatar's going to get you 20, 25 useless goals. Okay, you can hear me. Okay, good. San Jose is a mess. I mean, San Jose was all Karlsson. They don't have Timo Meier. They're purposely stripped down. Zadina ain't going to do it, right? Zadina's on the top line. So you still have Couturier there, or Logan Couture, right? They're stripped down on purpose. Like Erik Karlsson was playing out of his mind to try and get out of there. Oh, good. Yeah, I switched cameras. I think the other camera is frozen. So that's the main camera. I'm guessing this is a power battery issue. I'm not sure what to do about it. I have to either get another DSLR or figure that out, because it's not going to be great for streaming because it's operating off a battery. I can't figure out how to make the power cable because it's weird. It's this weird thing. So I don't know. I might have to switch that up. Luckily, MacBook has its own camera, and I think I'm still on the, I don't know. Can you hear me through the sound? I wonder if you're hearing me through the laptop. That's probably what it is. I'm probably not even using the mic right now. Let's see. I am guessing that, yeah, this is all my MacBook Pro. So the fancy studio stuff's out. I mean, I could sit here and pretend, but it's not happening. It's going over there and that's frozen. So that's unfortunate. All right. So we have an intermission here, right? 4-2. Check of the game, Garnet Hathaway. I won't stay on, let's see, is it intermission yet? Oh no, we still have 53 seconds. 8 shifts, 3 hits for Garnet Hathaway. Former Washington Capital, big guy. Leo Carlson. Wow, Leo Carlson tied up his 27 in the faceoff circle, pulled the puck between his legs back to his defenseman. Like, he looks like an NHL veteran when he does stuff like that. And you watch him back check, he's in the lane picking up his man. Like, his stick's on the ice, he takes away a pass, now he's got the puck, and they're breaking out. And these are the reasons I like Leo Carlson. He is, without the puck, really, really smart and really, like, mature. And he's 6'3", and he's a good playmaker, and he can score. So I don't know. I like all those things. Zegras playing wing with Leo Carlson at center. That's interesting. I don't know if that's like caught. Oh, and that's the end of the second. All right. Well, at least it's decent quality. We have some decent lighting, so that always helps. So I got this weird light above my head, so we have to figure that out. But ideally, this is like back there, but I just have to figure out the power situation. All right. So let's take a look at the games tonight while we have a little bit of time. NHL scoring, by the way, I wanted to look at that real quick. Jack Hughes, 18 points. Dylan Larkin, 15. I mean, so this I would not have expected. DeBrincat, 13. So as much as I say I don't think Dylan Larkin's a great playmaker, he's a great 200-foot player. He's shown he can score 30 goals and get 45 assists. But I think the guy that really gels that line is generally Lucas Raymond, where a lot of pucks go through him, and he gets it on the right guy's stick. Look at this. What the heck? How many games has Jonathan Quick played? 0.41. This guy's on a mission to win a cup, guys. Won a cup last year with Vegas. If the Rangers win this year, it's all because of this guy. 982 save percentage, 2 wins, 1 shutout. Holy moly. That is a very determined guy, by the way. Always has been. They are still a few pieces away, maybe. I like the goalie. I like Keller. I like the young Logan Cooley. How good do we think the defense is there? I mean, I like the Valimaki pickup. Is that a number 1 defenseman? No. You know, they were smart enough to move on from OEL. Logan Cooley, 5 assists, no goals in 7 games. So that's a start. Keller's got 8 points in 7 games. Schmaltz is playing well. I don't know if he'll stay healthy. Sean Durzi was a great pickup from LA. If you watch Sean Durzi, I was really surprised they moved on from him. He's really good offensively, real smooth skater. Is he a number 1? No. Matthias Michelli, if you watch him, Michelli is like another real good player. 5 points in 7 games, had a really good rookie year last year. I like the Nick Bugstad pickup. Looks like Jason Zucker's hurt again. After you get past that, it gets a little thin, right? And those are not like necessarily superstar names. Cooley will be, but in the end, he's a 20-year-old kid, right? Valimaki, I like 3 assists in 7 games. He's a big guy. He always did really well. Finished guy in the WHL. I think that was a real smart pickup by Arizona. So then what do you got? You got Jack McBain playing center for them. JJ Moser's a good number 4 defenseman. Troy Stetcher? Matt Dumba, 1 goal, and I think the writing's on the wall with Matt Dumba. He's a -5. He's just taken a lot of beating over the time. Barrett Hayton, 0 points in 7 games. Alex Kerfoot, 0 points in 7 games. Right? Hayton looked like he had a breakthrough year last year. Nothing happening now. Alex Kerfoot was a big offseason acquisition for them. Zip. Dumba, 1 goal, 0 assists. Lawson Krause, 0 goals, 1 assist. That's what's going on in Arizona. No secondary scoring, and guys that they brought in that should be taking up ice time and contributing, not even contributing a little bit. That's a problem. Vejmelka, I like, is a real good goalie. I don't know if Connor Ingram's a solution there, but even as a backup, he might be okay. Do I agree Montreal needs a French-speaking coach? You don't like Marty St. Louis? Yeah, I mean, listen, Babcock had a great career. Babcock doesn't speak French. That's weird. He went to McGill, but I guess it's kind of an English-speaking school more so, isn't it? I love Durzi. I was really surprised to see they moved on from him, but I think the writings, like, he was a top 4 for me for them. I don't know. And when Drew Doughty was out, he was really, really good. Well, Babcock is I was a big guy saying, hey, I would hire Babcock, and I'm wrong. Because what he did in Columbus was like self-destruction. Like, that's insane. There was always a lot of negative talk, and I thought it was kind of like a jealousy thing, but sometimes that's not the case. Like when you go to the NHL coaches conferences, and Coach French will tell you this, we would go, there's always negative feedback about Babcock. And I thought it was just because he signed the big contract with Toronto, and he had success in Toronto. And I thought the thing with Mitch Marner was nothing, but there we go. I wonder if he'll wear that in Thailand. Maybe you can get good suits in Thailand. We need to get Coach Frenchie a suit. I agree. We got to figure that out, Greg John. So I don't know. I think Jonathan Quick is an interesting story early on. Small sample size. Jack Hughes is showing he's the top player in the NHL. You've got a terrible, terrible start by Edmonton. I did not see that coming. And then on top of it, Connor gets hurt. So that's not a good thing for Edmonton. I really thought I'm pulling for Edmonton to win a cup, but something's going wrong there. Vancouver's played very well. And you could see at the end of last year, and this is under Rick Tocchet, a full, full training camp and full season with them. Like, Vancouver's Peterson, like Elias Peterson is so good. Like, he can shoot the puck. He has a crazy accurate whippy shot, and he's a very, very good playmaker. There's a really good comparison between him and Mikko Rantanen, by the way. Like, are they not very similar players? And Rantanen's so underrated. So, he's only got 2 goals, but 12 points and a +7. Peterson, that's a real good player. And then Quinn Hughes is having an amazing start, which, I think he's always like a big liability defensively, but I don't know. Pasta's doing real well still, despite having no Bergeron. Kevin Fiala, 10 points in 7 games. Only one of those is a goal, though. So, I think that's a good news story. I think you've got a super player there in Cole Caulfield. So I think Montreal, that's a real good story. Tampa's not going to be quite what they were, but they're still going to be tough to play against. You've got Kucherov, and Point is so good, and you got Sorella, and you got Hedman, and the biggest problem in Tampa is not having a goalie, and that's what's going to bite them. If they don't have Vasilevsky, it could be real tough. Konechny, 6 goals, now 7 goals in 8 games. Toffoli, I thought, would have a good start, and he has. He's getting to play with some really good players. Malkin having a great start. The guy that's maybe been a little quieter than I thought was Kaprizov, but I think they're just going to get better and better. Eriksson Ek has had a real good start. Jack Eichel, can't complain about these numbers. Shea Theodore is so much better than I ever would have anticipated. Okay, this is a guy that really is surprising me, to be honest with you, is Shane Gostisbehere. I was not high on this pick up by Detroit. I thought, he's like a defensive liability, and I don't think he's a defensive liability at all, actually. I think he's a very good 3-4 defenseman who can run a power play. Yeah. But now, is he going to play this year at all? Or are you saying in 2024 this season? Like, I'm not sure I thought he was out like 8 weeks or something, right? Is it more than that? But they're going to have to tough it out and try to stay in contention without him. But that's a big drop off. Zuccarello is such a fun player to watch. You watch him, you're like, man, that's such a good player. 9 points in 9 games for Seth Jarvis. That's kind of got lost in the shuffle. Kotkaniemi having 9 points in 9 games shocks me. 9 points for Neckish. And they just got Svechnikov back. So, those are kind of surprising stories. Evan Rodriguez, 8 points in 6 games for Florida. I think that's surprising to me. Tim Stützle is doing about what I would expect. Quinn Hughes, 8 points, 7 games, a plus 10 is shocking me. The Hughes boys trained in the offseason because Luke and Jack look great for New Jersey, and Quinn's having a great start for Vancouver. Yeah, that's what I thought. LA players like Moore. Yeah, Fiala is like Fiala is such a good player. This is such a talented player. Kempe, he's shown he can score. Pierre-Luc Dubois was a big offseason acquisition. He's doing well. Again, he's not my favorite player, but he's a good player. He's big and can do a lot. And that's a team that's so deep at centerman. Between PLD, Dano, Kopitar, and then arguably you might have 3 or 4 other guys that can play center. The big thing is, like, what's the deal with Turcotte? That's tough. That's just like player. Is he not turned out because of the injuries, the lack of opportunity, combination? Yeah, 7 points for Moore, 5 goals. That's pretty good. Mikey Anderson doing real well on D. I think Jersey's still better than him in my opinion, but he's a good defenseman. Drew Doughty, 5 points, 3 goals in 7 games. That's pretty good. The guy that actually is a real surprise is Kaliev. Kaliev was, I think, in the same draft as Byfield. Byfield, 4 points in 7 games. I think that's pretty acceptable numbers for him. And Dubois got 3 goals, 1 assist. So I don't know. He's listed as 6'4", 225. Is he that big now? Maybe he is. I always thought he was 6'2", 6'3". So maybe they measured him in the offseason. Lafreniere, he's got a goal there. Guys like Jarrett, Anderson, Dolan, Turcotte. You got Thomas there in the AHL. Jordan Spence has been pretty good, but I'm not sure. He's only 22, so we should be patient. I like the Gavrikov signing. They're going to be good. I just don't love, Phoenix Copley, 3 goals, like 4.98 goals against average and a 7.88. Wouldn't you rather have Jonathan Quick? Jonathan Quick is making a statement last year and this year. Although the trade for trading Jonathan Quick worked out really well for Jonathan Quick, getting a Stanley Cup with Vegas. And arguably you could say that him backing up the guy that should be the best goalie in the NHL, but has kind of been maybe not the best goalie in the NHL, and Shesterkin, man, the Rangers could be really, really dangerous. So Copley, I think, is settling back down to what he really is, which is not a number 1 or maybe even number 2 goalie. It might be a number 3. And I don't, Cam Talbot's got pretty good numbers right now, 270 and a 906, but that's not great. Those are Cam Talbot numbers. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not a number 1 goalie. So I think they're going to have to do something there. I just don't know what. Like, what do you do at this point? Yeah, Rodriguez has been around a long time too. Is he a 1990 or 91 born guy? Like, he's been around a while. You don't think Fiala's good defensively, but he's really smart offensively. Yeah, Shesterkin should settle in. He was off a little bit last year, but still, top numbers. And having Quick there, Quickie's not he's the type of guy that wants to steal the net from Shesterkin. So I don't know. That's kind of interesting. Well, guys, I think that we've started up again. Let's see where we're at. Is this third period starting yet? I think we're just started back up. Anaheim and Philadelphia. Good to see Sean Couturier on the bench. No letter on his jersey. That's interesting. Who's the captain in Philadelphia? Is there one? I don't even know. Is Cam Atkinson a captain? He might be an A. Yeah, keep an eye on Seth Jarvis in Carolina. That's kind of interesting. Stamkos, they won't give this guy a contract. He's got 8 points in 6 games. Is he going to go to Toronto, guys? He should go somewhere. I think you just say thanks, but no thanks, I just don't understand why you would not just nail down a contract with him. It makes no sense. Rasmus Dahlin got his first goal, so that's helpful. 8 points. Man, he takes some wild chances. He's a wild guy. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm wondering. I think it started. ESPN's a little wacky. Not my favorite way to watch the games. There's Konechny. 7 goals in the year. It's pretty good. Doing the smelling salts. Oh, yeah, that's gross, man. He wants more. He's like, yeah, give me more. I don't understand that. They're going to show that causes brain damage at some point. Brandon Hagel doing okay. 5 goals, 8 points for Tampa. And Hartman, same in Minnesota. And Tarasenko's had a really good start in Ottawa. I know a lot of people were questioning that signing, but I think that's going to prove really a good signing for Ottawa. Actually, the team that's maybe a little surprising, going back to that, is Buffalo. Buffalo's not had a great start. I think there's problems in net there. Comrie went down with an injury last night. I don't know if, the young goalie is the answer there. And then the other guy is Pekka Lunen. So that's a little weird. Tage Thompson obviously is a stud. Jeff Skinner looked real good right now. So Tage has got 4 goals in 8 games, but only 5 points. Who is Maxim Latunov, the 19-year-old leading scorer? No, that can't be right. That makes no sense. I'm looking at the wrong year. Jeez. I was like, what the heck? That's so weird. I clicked and it took me to another year. Dylan Cousins, playing really well. Casey Milstead's looked real good. Alex Tuck got in a scrap against Brady Tkachuk. That was interesting. Tkachuk is one strong person. Holy smokes. If you're able to put down Alex Tuck, and then he did the same thing with Michael Rasmussen. He is so strong. Zach Benson's kind of fun to watch. I think that he'll probably go back after the next 3 games. He's played 5 games. I think they can keep for 9, right? JJ Peterka looks great. I really like that setup. But Devin Levy, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, 478 goals against average, 881 save percentage. Devin Levy, to me, 326 and 892. I don't know if it gets much better than that for him. So I think that's the problem there. Here we go again. Ducks power play again, eh? Interesting. All right, let's see. Gaudreau hasn't scored yet. No. He's a pass-first guy. I think you're seeing his best years were with Matthew Tkachuk. How good is Tkachuk? Much better than any of us gave him credit for. Hiya, William McCleary. How are you doing? The rookie. Yeah, Leafs are doing pretty good. Defense, I do not like that defense, although Morgan Riley scored. That was pretty good. I like Joseph Woll. I think Joseph Woll, since the playoffs last year, is really, really good goalie. And then Samsonov, I like. The defense is terrible there, though. Nylander looks like he's going to be an 80, 90-point player again, so that's really good. Listen, he is a big guy with all the skill to be an NHL number 1 centerman. For sure. is a given. They got a very, very good player. 9 games tonight, RJ. That was crazy. Yeah, that's always good. Hit the likes. Fantilli, I think the stuff I don't love about Fantilli is more like the intangible stuff, the stuff without the puck, and he just tends to be a little bit of a selfish player. But man, he can score, and he's got talent. He can pass, and he's big. So all the things are there. Like, to me, like, again, if you look at Jack Eichel, Vegas was able to win a cup with Eichel. He didn't hold them back at all. He played great. That's the type of player he could be, and that's fine. He's in a much better situation than Eichel was in Buffalo at the same age. I think there's a good team chemistry in Columbus. Let's see here. That was weird. They just threw the puck away on the power play and then got a breakaway. And that's Cam Atkinson, trying to go to Couturier on the power play or the PK for Philadelphia. That could have been real bad, but it was broken up by the Anaheim D. So let's see. Scotty Lawton taking the face-off for Philadelphia. Loses it to Zegras. Okay, so Zegras won the face-off against Lawton. I mean, he's got much better hands, but a much smaller guy. That bumper, I think the art of the bumper player on the power play is really interesting over the last, 2 or 3 years. You see some really, like Detroit, holy smokes. Like they were hitting on 40%. And man, they utilized the great passing, and that bumper position has really opened up a lot of interesting options when you put a talented guy there. You know what I'm talking about, where the guy that kind of follows the puck in the middle, and they move the puck to him and then back, or he looks for an open shot. Wow, great pass by Zegras, but gets broken up. Oh, turnover. Here we go, Anaheim. Zegras goal. 5-2, guys. Wow. Philadelphia looked like they were breaking out. I think I have I got a little bit of a hornet problem here. I'm going to put the bug light on. Hold on. You think so? I don't know. I mean, I think he is a competitive guy. You're probably right. It's just I think maybe he just tries to do too much himself, and I don't know. The feedback from the situations I know him from was kind of mixed, but yeah, he wouldn't be happy. No Carter Hart, no opportunity for Philly, but they don't count them out. They got 2 goals in the last period. You're 2 minutes ahead. That's all right. So is that Strome? Yeah, so Strome picks the pocket of Konechny. Konechny goes to break out. Strome picks his pocket, thinking wow, Konechny thought he was going to get a breakaway on the PK, and then Strome unselfishly puts the puck back to Zegras in the middle and right down the pipe. Nobody to block him. Great shot by Zegras. Now he is a darn talented player. Just wondering how much I pay attention to the I can hear a hornet trying to get out of here. All right, give me 1 sec, guys. They seem great, man. The defensive, like Zellweger, Leno, and Mintyukov alone. And then you still have Draisaitl there, or Drysdale. If Drysdale can get healthy, then they're going to be really, really, really dangerous sooner than we think. Hi, Willie. How are you? Thank you for joining. We've just been kind of watching the Anaheim versus Philadelphia game. Anaheim just scored another power play goal. They're up 5-2 in that game. Goal from Trevor Zegras from Ryan Strome, who picked Travis Konechny's pocket. It looked like Konechny was breaking out on the PK and going to get a breakaway. And Ryan Strome, who's a very good 200-foot player, steals the puck and then unselfishly just puts it into the middle to Zegras, who had nobody blocking that shot. Yeah, Torts has got no suit on for Torts. He's got the Philadelphia Flyers zip up. They all got the zip up on that bench. Is that a Torts thing? Oh, yeah. Oh, it wasn't even Konechny. I thought Konechny lost it. I mean, make no mistake about it. Zegras finished that. That was nice. 5-2, 13 shots on net, guys, for Anaheim. 13 shots on net, 5 goals. Something's not going well there. Ugh. There's no other game to even switch to. Well, listen, if you're Philadelphia, you just say, hey, boys, let's claw our way back into it. We only have 20 shots. If we get another 20, or even get another 10, at least it'll be 5-3. You know, they have 17 minutes. They can claw their way back in, but can't keep taking penalties, and the goalie's got to stop something. And I don't think they're going to put Carter Hart in. I think they're just going to let this run. So the risk is the Samuel Ersson – that don't work out. Whatever happened to that Russian goalie? Did he ever get over here? I don't think so, right? The one that got arrested, and Cam Fowler, good one-on-one play there. Yeah, the D in Anaheim's kind of interesting. You know, you've got Cam Fowler. If Drysdale is not hurt, which he is again, Minchikov, 4 points in 7 games. He looks a lot bigger than I thought. Young Jackson Lacombe looks good. He's 22. He looks real good. Vakanen's an NHL veteran. He's kind of like a 6'7" guy. Gudis, you know, he's like a good 4'5", probably 5'6", ideally. Lano's only played 2 games. And then you got that veteran Lyubushkin. So I don't know. I think sooner than later you see Lano go down maybe. Oh, you picked them for what, tonight? Sorry. Torts is doing the LL Bean look. Is that what oh my goodness. Let's see. 2-on-1. Goal! Anaheim makes it 6-2. Brett Leeson. Whew. Larkin looks to be on. The guy that's really playing great is DeBrincat. DeBrincat is so good. Moritz Seider is so good. You know, Sprung's had some moments. Perron's kind of up and down. Comfer and Kopp are competent. I want to see more out of Rasmussen. I think putting him in the middle is the way you got to go with him. Veleno's been great. Have you watched Joe Veleno? I think he's got 4 goals or 5 goals on the year. Is he 4 or 5? I think it's 4. And man, he has really solidified that third line role. And he's shown he moves the puck real well. He plays a good 200-foot game, and he can shoot. But DeBrincat is way better than I ever realized. I thought DeBrincat was a shooter that just had the benefit of playing with Patrick Kane. And then I thought the numbers he had last year were a reflection of the reality that would set in. He is way better than I thought. You watch him. He's a much faster skater. He's a really good playmaker. He's smart with the puck. I thought he was a very perimeter player, but he pops into spots and can really shoot the puck. And he finds the open man. He's a very good playmaker. So DeBrincat's been really good. And Larkin, I agree. Like Larkin, that contract's looking like a steal right now. Like he's legit. I just think early in his career, he was playing with guys like Bertuzzi and Athanasiou and, you know, Anthony Mantha, and we're seeing the difference now. You put him with really good players, especially, you know, Lucas Raymond or Perron, who can settle things down or are real effective with the puck. It really takes the edge off, because I don't think Larkin's a natural playmaker per se, but you know, having someone that can really control the play on his line and really, really balances things out, just makes him that much better. 6 goals on 14 shots. And what do you do here? What do you do, guys? All right, I'm going to I think he's 12 points in 8 games. So he's a point and a half. Or he's 15 points. I'm sorry. He's 15 points. And I think DeBrincat has 13. So is that 15 points in 8 games or 9 games? I can't remember. But we were looking at the NHL leading scorers before, and he's like right up there. Let's just take a quick look again. Yeah, he's the second leading scorer in the NHL, and DeBrincat's the third. So he has 15 points. I mean, I did not anticipate that. 4 goals, 11 assists, +5. I mean, can't ask for much more than that. And does DeBrincat have 9 goals? 9 goals in 8 games for DeBrincat. Pretty awesome, right? All right, guys, I'm going to take a quick break here, and I will pop back in. We can finish watching that game, and we'll wrap it up at the end and just preview some of the games tonight. There are 9 games on the schedule, as RJ had mentioned. And I know that you're going to have the Montreal game in there. RJ, let's put that up. And I'm just going to take me off camera, play some music, and I'll be back in a minute. right. We are back. Thank you for your comments. 2 points a game. Yeah, it's pretty crazy, Willie. Coach Live at 7 p.m. That's Eastern time. So I guess that's in 3.5 hours, RJ. Why did the duck go to the chiropractor? To get its back quacked. I might need to go to the chiropractor, Austin. Well, speaking of Ducks, it's now 6-2. Anaheim. They score again? Oh, Philadelphia scores. Konechny. Okay, see, you can't count out a Torts team. And, it's that bumper play I was talking about, right? So in front of the net, you got Couturier. Puck goes to Couturier, and he moves it back just like a couple feet, and there's Konechny on the open side. Just change the angle of attack. I mean, you got to love the grittiness of a Tortorella team. So it's 6-3. Finally, Anaheim has 6 shots or 20 shots, but they have 6 goals on 20 shots, which is not great. 3 goals on 23 shots for Philadelphia, also not amazing. It's not exactly a goaltender's duel today. Great play. Goes down low to Couturier, who's standing in front of the net. He's occupied the defenseman, moves it immediately back to Konechny, who's like got a whole left side open of the net. It's really a great play. I love a lot of the little creative plays that have come up with the institution of that bumper guy on the power plays, but that was an even strength goal. Yeah, Torts doesn't quit, and I think that's the one thing about a Tortorella team. Like, it's like, no, we're not going to quit. We have nothing to lose. Why would we fold? We're going to be hard to play against. And I think that's the one thing you love about a John Tortorella team, right? Even if they maybe lack some talent there. He's always been weird with centermen too. But now you see, like, I cannot see a Pierre-Luc Dubois. If that's your best player in Columbus, that guy would drive Tortorella nuts. Because Pierre-Luc just looks like about him, like just the whole force on a trade twice, going to Winnipeg, and and I thought it was a real interesting statement. Winnipeg, signing that Hellebuck and Scheifele signed long-term there. Because he could have got that money anywhere. Any team would want Connor Hellebuck as their goalie. So I thought that was interesting. What do you think of Winnipeg? I think with Velarde, they were looking dangerous, but Velarde's always had so many back issues and so many little injury issues, and now he's out again. He could be a 25, 30 goal scorer in the NHL. Just like, he's just a weird skater. Like, he's kind of a stand-up guy, and I feel like he's very stiff. I've always liked Gabe, though. I think, Gabe could be a real effective player for them. Nikolai Ehlers healthy is really helpful for Winnipeg. Yeah. Well, and I'm pretty sure that Travis Konechny was from London, Ontario, and the first overall draft pick in the OHL. I mean, he was a real good player coming up. He was just never big. And sometimes we overlook those guys. Like, look at Logan Cooley. Like, would you not want Logan Cooley first overall in Montreal now? Oh, here we go. What's with all the penalties? So weird. Yeah, another ad. Let's see if I'm on an ad or not. I think I'm behind you. So let's take a look here. Konechny, born in London, Ontario. See, I got some memory. Oh, that's the wrong site. We need Elite Hockey because Hockey Reference. I don't even know why that shows up in the rankings. I always liked Hockey DB, but Elite Prospects legitimately has deeper stats. So yeah, Elgin Middlesex, 114 points his last year with Elgin Middlesex. So played in the Alliance. That's a real good player all the way along. Like 70 points in 63 games as a rookie. He was a captain with Ottawa. Traded to the Sarnia Sting. Didn't do much in the playoffs there. So he was traded in his last year, which is normal for an overage player at that point. He had a real good OHL career. He's never played in the AHL? Wow, that's crazy. He went right from Sarnia and Ottawa in the OHL to the NHL. That's really interesting. I did not realize that. I mean, he had 24 goals, 3 years in a row in the NHL. 24, 47, 49, and then 61 points in 66 games. Kind of come injury-plagued period there between 19 and 21. Yeah, 30 goals, 61 points last year in 60 games. So the trick with him is keeping him healthy. But he's always been a real good player. And where was he? He was drafted like mid round, 24th overall, so late first in 2015. Who would have thought Vegas 7-1, but still a lot lost in regulation? Who would have thought that they would have lost that game in overtime? Well, you know who's got Aiden Hill's number is Connor Bedard. I mean, is that his second goal this year on Aiden Hill? That shot, I remember the first one because he was shaking his head. I can't figure out where we are in the game with ESPN. There's 10 minutes left on my screen. I don't know what there is with you. Yeah, see, they play games with the. Oh, it's 7-3. That's what you're talking about. Who scored on that one? I didn't even see it. The broadcast drives me nuts on ESPN. Like, I'm so far behind in this game. It's now 8-3. Jesus. Okay. See, on ESPN, I had to go advanced to see 7-3, but now it's 8-3, and they're doing it just to run commercials. Vetrano gets 4 goals, 2 shorthanded goals. Is that right? Holy moly! Where I got to go back and watch that. I skipped ahead just to see. So Vetrano has a 4-goal game. Am I wrong? 8:20. Yeah. See, this is ESPN playing games. So it's 8-3 now in that Anaheim game. Absolutely out of hand. So that was Vetrano's 8th. So to see, there's a shorthanded goal coming up. We know that. It's only showing 7. It's 8-13 now, 7-3. But Vetrano gets another one here. Let's see what it is. Do they pull the goalie? Yep. They pulled the goalie. And Vetrano, oh no, they didn't. He just iced it. Never mind. What am I talking about? How am I not like caught up on this game? It's ridiculous. So Philadelphia break in. Man, they are ham and egging it. This looks like Columbus Blue Jackets went under the Torts era. They're just like utilitarian, you know? Saba Gibson on the Philadelphia power play. Decent puck movement, you know? Blocked in front, fires down the ice. So where do they get? Is this shorthanded goal coming up here? 2 seconds left on the PK. So is this wrong? Is it not 8-3? It says on NHL.com that it's 8-3, and that Vetrano scored again. No, it's 7-3. Never mind. That's interesting. They had it down as 8-3. Vetrano is such a good player, so he gets a hat trick. It was weird on NHL.com. I wish I grabbed that screenshot. It said 8-3. It showed Vetrano 8th and 9th of the season. 2 shorthanded goals. But I think what happened was they didn't give the assist to Henrique, and so they were redoing the score. So it was weird. Yeah, it was weird. If you look on NHL.com, it was doing something straight. I wish I took a screenshot. But now it's back to normal. That's what I was like, why am I not watching that? Something weird going on. This is part of the ESPN experience, which is not amazing. Although this game is on NBC, I think. I didn't know NBC still had any games. Ooh, block shot. Who blocked that? Is that Silverberg or 23? Is that Henrique? Or is that McTavish? I can't remember. What number is McTavish? Is he 23? Yeah, I think he's 23. Wow, I need my glasses. Oh, almost not quite out. Lawton down low. Oh, there we go. Lug the puck down. Anaheim clears the pressure. That's not icing? Okay. Guess they waved it off. Interesting. 601. It's 7-3. Only 23 shots. Oh, it's Dostal. I don't mind Lucas Dostal. I think he's pretty decent. Hattie for Vetrano. That is good news. I like Vetrano. So crazy. I do like the way they're playing, but I don't think so. I mean, you're not going to win much. They were clicking 40% on the power play, Kai, sorry. That ain't going to hold up. You know, do you really think Dylan Larkins and DeBrincat are going to be 3 and 4 in the NHL scoring? I don't think so. And then you've had Husso let in goals, games where he had 4 goals, 5 goals against, right? Does that sound right? And then, Reimer's not going to be sub 3. So I just think it's going to even out. And I think you're already seeing that. $5.58 on my $5.55 now, and a commercial. Whew, man, that game got out of hand. So, all right. So tonight, what do we got going on, RJ? Let's take a look. I think RJ had posted this. So Seattle versus Florida, 6 p.m. Eastern. Islanders versus Columbus. So you'll get to see Adam Fantilli again, which is good. Islanders are not a lot of fun to watch, are they? They got the best goalie, Sorokin. I mean, he's very, very good. Why are all the greatest goalies Russian right now? It's like a weird era. Winnipeg and against the Habs. So you don't get the dream about Pierre-Luc Dubois anymore, Habs. You guys sad, but the Kirby Dach thing still breaks it. I just cannot believe that he is gone again. That just drives me nuts. Detroit, Boston, which I will watch. I'm not sure if I'll do a broadcast or not because I think that'll conflict with what Coach Frenchie's doing. And if Coach Frenchie wants me on, just tell him and I'll pop on. I'll pop in the chat, guys. Toronto versus Nashville. So that's interesting. Is that here? Let's see. Or is this in Toronto? I think it's in Toronto, maybe. Which means I'm going to be blacked out probably on that game. Like, that's the other crazy thing. No, they're here tonight. So that's interesting. Okay. Huh. Let's take a look for tickets. I mean, the one thing I am excited about being in Nashville, it is closer to the East Coast. Huh. I can get a ticket for $59. Should I do that? Oh my God. If you get lower bowl, it's $1,700. Oh my God, these tickets are crazy. What the heck? We never see numbers like this. Are these obstructed seats though? Might be obstructed. Interesting. $59, but it's obstructed. You get $108. Where's this? It's obstructed. So it's interesting. And obstructed to them is like, oh, look at this, section 119. I like this ticket. 198. Do I blow $198 and go watch the Leafs versus Predators? What do you think? I believe Nekesh's contract comes out at the end of the season. What do you think he receives? So what is Nylander at? Is he at 8.5? Or is it like his old contract was 6.9? Did he not resign? What was I'm trying to remember the contract situation for Nylander. Oh man, these Hornets drive me nuts. Keep getting in the house. 6-year, $45 million. Is he still on that contract? Yeah, he's still at 6.9. So that's the average. I don't know. I think you've got to think that Nekesh gets like 8.5. What is? But the problem is Sebastian Aho. Isn't Aho at that? Aho right now is their guy, right? Not that Nekesh isn't. Like is Aho playing left wing? So he's 8.4 cap hit. So he makes 6, 7.7, 10.5, 12 million. He'll make 6 million this year. So it's like the average is out to 8.4. So they front end loaded that. They gave him a bunch of money up front. and that's Aho. So I just don't know. Do you put Neckish ahead of Aho? I kind of think it'll be similar contract. I think that they'll peg it to whatever Aho is, and he might just be right around there. What do you think of the Teravainen hat trick? That's a guy known for passing. I thought about picking the Ducks in this game, but I hate picking between bottom dwellers. Yeah, it's a tough one. Nylander's still pending. You're right. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. So the salary cap goes up by 4.5 next year. So it basically goes up like another 5 million the year after, apparently. So between this year and the year after, or next year and the year after, it's 9.5 million. It's going to go up to like 92 or 93 million. So contracts like that are looking really cheap, and they'll do it based on percentage, but they're also going to look at what Aho has as 8.4 average. I don't see Neckish getting more than that, but maybe. I mean, he's a real good player. Seth Jarvis is making a case for himself here. He's like doing really well, and I knew he would. He's a real good player too. 7.4. Okay, good. Look at that. Man, ESPN, you're just driving me nuts here. They gotta give me Pravagin ads, whatever the hell that is. Improves memory. I don't know what this means. Does it make me remember that I'm watching a commercial? I would think you would want me to forget that. So Farabee scores. So all the guys I was talking about, Bobby Brink gets his 4th assist of the year, and Joel Farabee gets his 4th goal. So you can't count out Philly. Like, they are a gritty group. You know, they just maybe fell victim to not, their backup goalie. Not a great goalie today. So that puts Farabee at 6 points on 8 games. 4 goals, 2 assists. Did he get any assists this game? Let's see. I don't see any apples for Farabee. But that's Bobby Brink's 2nd assist this game. So, I mean, there's some good news. Avs are weird. I think Ryan Johansson, the trick with him is keeping him motivated and healthy. When they made that cup run with Nashville, he was just a monster. And he had that crazy thigh injury that kind of derailed things. He's old, though. He's like a 92. So what is he, 31? Not that old, but he's not young anymore. He's a big guy. They obviously didn't feel comfortable with what they had going with Comfer as their second line center. He never really carved out that spot. So I don't know. I think that part is good. Nichushkin, I've always liked him, but I've never believed he was a top offensive player. So I guess that's what remains to be seen. Mikko Rantanen is like maybe their best player right now. I don't believe in Jonathan Drouin at all. That's just going to keep falling off. Ross Colton, I think, really solidifies that third line with Miles Wood. Tatar is going to get you 20, 23 goals that are not that useful. I think when the going gets tough, he's not always there. And I really like Lehkonen. So from that point of view, they've got pieces there that they're going to be in the playoffs. I think they're in 1st or 2nd right now. So I think that's really good. If Bo Byram stays healthy, that's going to be really important. Devin Taves just signed a long-term deal. So he's obviously top 3 for them right now. Obviously Cale Makar, that's really important that he stays healthy, because otherwise he's going to be like a 90-point defenseman, 85, 90 points, and he'll be in Vezina not Vezina, the goalie, Norris Trophy consideration. So I think from that perspective, they're pretty deep at most positions. Francouz, I don't know what the story is there. Like, how long is Francouz out? Is he gone for the year? That could be a problem. So that could be a real challenge for them. This is going to look like the steal of the century. They signed Rasmus Dahlin to $11 million a year in Buffalo, okay? You can't tell me, like, if you had a choice between Rasmus Dahlin and Jack Hughes, you wouldn't take Jack Hughes at this point. Like, Jack Hughes is everything as advertised. He's just become an elite player. It's going to look like a total, yeah. So Francouz is out for the season. For sure. That's what I thought. So that's a problem. And they got that goalie that came from Arizona, the Russian guy, right, as their backup. So they need to figure that out. They're not going to win anything with the goalie they've got. I just don't see that. Like Georgiev was never really sold on him being a number one. "31 shots on goal for Philly, 4 goals against the Ducks," which I guess is to be expected, you know. Dostal, still really a little bit young back on D. They really need Drysdale. Or just call up Olin Zellweger. Why are you calling up Robert Hagg? Two seconds left. That game's over. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you so much for joining. I know it was a bit of an impromptu thing. It was nice to see so many people. Willie, RJ, William, the front line, or the Fool in the Rain. Sorry, I totally might need my glasses on here. We saw Run with Kings jumped on. Kai, thank you so much for joining. Steve G, our friend from Colorado fan. Thank you so much for joining. Adam Berger popped in for a little bit. Thank you so much for joining as well. Austin Allen, it was nice to see you on. Our friend, and I had a bit of a misunderstanding with, I think it was Patrick, so I wasn't, hope there's some clarification there. So I'm sorry about that. I hope you don't think I was saying anything bad about Canadians, because I definitely wasn't. It was more like the annoying government and looking at people's phones as a comparison to Babcock. I don't think that's a good comparison for culture. I don't think that's a cultural norm. The authority takes too much authority, if you know what I mean. That's what I was kind of referring to. Like Greg John, Maurice Robillard, thank you so much for joining. Let's see if I missed anybody else. If I did, I apologize. It was nice to see everybody. Yeah, Patrick LeBlanc, so sorry for the misunderstanding. Hopefully you get a clarification on what I was saying. We had Chicago Bears fan was on early. Nicola, thank you so much for joining. And let's see who else had jumped in. I don't know. Eternal Render was. I don't think we've spoken before. And RBX God, thank you so much for joining as well. Greg and John, if I didn't mention you already, thank you for popping in and for all your comments. All right, everybody, I really appreciate seeing you. I might jump on tonight if Coach Frenchie wants me. I'm happy to jump on in between periods. I know he does play-by-play. That's not usually what I'm doing. I will resume. Yeah, it's me, William. I'm Bucks and James. So you'll see me in the chat. Thank you so much, RJ, for posting all the games and for all your comments and support. It's amazing. Yeah, I think this Willie says not number one goalie. So no Francouz. Like that would be a 1B and a 1B in my opinion. Neither one of Francouz or Georgiev is a number one. Oh my gosh, that's okay. Thank you, Real Deal Prime. It's always a pleasure to see you. So enjoy Coach Frenchie tonight. He's on at 7 p.m. Eastern. Habs against, is it Columbus? No. Who are they playing tonight, RJ? I'm already forgetting. He posted all the games and I read through them, and my mind is like a sieve. It's already slipping out there. Oh, it's Winnipeg. Winnipeg's interesting. No Rick Bonus right now. His wife had a seizure. So you got Scott Arniel on the bench. What do you think of the contract for Connor Hellebuck and Scheifele? I was really surprised they locked in. I think they got a fair amount for Pierre-Luc Dubois. I like Velarde. Rasmus Kupari can help them a little bit. I think the defense is not too bad in Winnipeg. It's a little bit better. Yeah, Jets. His mom's in the hospital? Oh, I thought Rick Bonus's wife had a seizure. Thank you, Willie. Appreciate that. All right, I will try to join your chat tonight with Coach Frenchie. Otherwise, have a wonderful few hours. Have fun. Yeah, I'm just debating if I go or not. I don't know. They black out the games here. It's ridiculous. I can't see the games. So it's a bit of a trek downtown, but they can get pretty inexpensive tickets. That's not too bad, right? Go see Rai and the boys. All right, guys, have a wonderful day, and we will look forward to seeing you at 7 p.m. Eastern.